good afternoon to all. Myself, Dr. Pankaj, PG Scholar, Department of Agadatantra, SDM College of Ayurveda, Hospital and Research Center, Udupi. I warmly welcome you all to the national level CME organized by the Department of Agadatantra, SDMCAH, Udupi. Today marks the beginning of our very first webinar on the topic forensic psychiatry, mainly highlighting on forensic perspective on the thought disorders. Before starting our today's session, let's seek the blessings of Almighty. Now I request Dr. Manas for the prayer.
Shambhu Girisha Surapujita Kamavairim Gaurisha Shankara Maheshwara Vishwahetu Shambhu Girisha Surapujita Kamavairim Gaurisha Shankara Maheshwara Vishwahetu Dharmasthala Manjunatheshwara Dayapayode Shri Manjunatheshwara Guru Mangal Dharmasthala Manjunatheshwara Dayapayode Shri Manjunatheshwara Guru Mangalam Guru Mangalam Guru Mangalam.
With the blessings of Padma Vibhushana Dr. Virendra Hegde, President SDM Ujjire, I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Prasanna N. Rao, Director SDM IU Institution. I take this opportunity to welcome the spine of our institution, our beloved principal, Dr. Mamta KV. Heartily welcome you, ma'am. It's my immense pleasure to welcome our eminent speaker, Dr. Niranjan S, Professor, HOD Department of Kayachikitsa, Major SD Singh, PG Ayurvedic Medical College and Hospital, Farrukhabad. Welcome you, sir. I take this opportunity to welcome Niranjan Rao, Vice Principal, SDMCAH and Research Center, Udupi. Welcome you, sir. I welcome Dr. Nagaraj S, Medical Superintendent, SDMCAH and Research Center, Udupi. Dr. Mulidhar R. Bal, General Manager, SDM Pharmacy, Udupi. Dr. Srilata Kamath, IQAC Coordinator, SDMCH and Research Center, Udupi. Dr. Prashant K, Dean Administration, SDMCH and Research Center, Udupi. Dr. Shrikant P, Dean, PG and PhD Studies, SDMCH and Research Center, Udupi. I also welcome our HOD, Dr. Chaitra Hebbar, Prof. And also, I take this opportunity to welcome all the deans, HOD, faculty, PG scholars for Abhijna 2025, a national level CME. Now, I request Dr. Shiva PU, Assistant Professor, Department of Agadatantra, to introduce our guest speaker. Before that, I request our beloved principal, Dr. Mamta KV, ma'am, to declare the CME open.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the technical issues which we have come across now. So, without taking much time, I declare this webinar Abhijna open. I congratulate the Department of Agadatantra for selecting such an interesting topic, wherein within a day more than 500 entries we could receive. I welcome the speaker, Dr. Niranjan, and I wish him good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Shiva PU, Assistant Professor, Department of Agadatantra, to introduce our guest speaker.
Om Shri Manjunathaya Namaha, Om Dham Dhanvantare Namaha. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the luminary of today's event, Dr. Niranjan S. Sir. Dr. Niranjan S. Sir is a self-motivated Ayurvedic physician with a familial Ayurvedic background. He is an academician, researcher, and an administrator with a teaching experience of over 17 years. Currently, Sir is holding a post of Dean of PG Studies and Head of the Department of Kayachikitsa at Major SD Singh PG Ayurvedic Medical College and Hospital, Farrukhabad, Uttar Pradesh. Formerly, Sir has worked as Assistant Professor in Manovignana Evam Manasaroga Department in BPSC Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, and SDM Ayurveda College, Udupi, for more than 8 years. Sir has completed his undergraduate studies from SDM College of Ayurveda Udupi in 2003 and post-graduation in Manovignana Eva Mansaroga from BPSC Ayurveda College for Kerala in 2008. He has done his Masters of Science in Counseling and Psychotherapy from Coimbatore University, Shivamogga, Karnataka in 2014. Sir has served as a member of State Joint Organizing Secretary, Uttar Pradesh in Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad from 2017 to 2022. Sir is invited as a speaker in various conferences, webinars, and CMEs across the country. Sir is in an editorial and review board of few scientific journals. Sir has published 30 scientific articles in various national and international peer-reviewed journals. Sir is specialized in mental health care and counseling, clinical research, research methodology, and medical statistic workshops, examination and workplace stress management workshops, etc. With warm regards, we welcome you to today's program, sir, and we leave the platform to you. Thank you, sir.
First of all, again, I'd like to thank the organizers of this CME, especially Dr. Chaitra Madam, Dr. Srinidhi sir, and all the faculty members of Agadatantra, Principal Madam, the management of SDM Trust, and the audience for patience hearing. Today, it's my privilege to speak on this subject that lies a fascinating intersection of psychiatry, law, and human behavior. Okay. First of all, why it matters? Why this particular topic matters? Why it is very essential? Because nowadays we have come across several occasions or several instances where after committing a crime, the persons will behave in an insane manner to be protected or to be free from the punishment. So in that situation, how to assess the persons, how to assess the psychiatric evaluation, their thinking patterns, and for that matter, and what are all the legal aspects or laws which are related to these particular aspects, and what are all the thought disorders, all these things are coming under this particular topic. What this topic contains? This topic contains, as you know that in the topic, in the heading itself, it is mentioned that the distorted realities, dangerous decisions, forensic aspects, and thought disorders. First of all, forensic aspects. First of all, thought disorders. What are thought disorders? That we have to understand. What are the distorted realities? Realities in the sense, these are the thinkings, different thinkings, altered thinkings, and due to that, dangerous things that have been done. And finally, the legal aspects related to this particular concept. All these things have been we are highlighting in this particular topic. Yes, next slide. So there are a few examples. See, first example, if due to a delusion, due to unsoundness of mind, a person thinks that another man is attempting to kill. Understand the situation? Due to a delusion, due to a unsoundness of a mind, a person thinks that another man is attempting to kill, and because of that threat, he kills that man in self-defense. In this particular situation, whether he will have any criminal responsibility. Next slide, please. In the first example, if a person is having a delusion and he thinks that someone is trying to kill him, and with that threat, that if he kills the person in self-defense, then the person will not be considered as a criminal, because religion thoughts are those thoughts which are not at all related to the society beliefs. So this is crossing the road of a black cat. this is nothing but this particular thinking is present, this particular belief is present in our society. So this cannot be considered as a delusion. Next slide, please. So some of the important delusion of persecution. So this is the most common type of delusion we can come across, and this is mainly responsible for most of the criminal acts. Uh, the patient considers himself being someone is trying to kill me, and someone is trying to harm me. Because of that, he again attacks the person. And second one is grandeur delusion, where the person himself considers himself as having a strong power, even though he is a lean person, or sometimes he considers himself as God. A grand type of thoughts can be considered as grandeur delusion or delusion of grandiosity. The third one is referential delusions, of delusion of reference. Here, as I discussed earlier, if a person is crossing the road and two people are talking to each other, this person considers that both are talking about himself. Whatever the talk has been taking place, that is referring to this person itself. That is why it is called as referential delusion. Again, this may result in a crime. And Othello syndrome, this is also called as delusion of infidelity, where the patient or the person will have the belief that his or her spouse will be having the external marital affair. All these are responsible for the criminal acts. Next slide, please. Nihilistic delusions. Again, this is also seen in depression mainly. Here the patient says that the world is going to end, and there is no future at all, believes that patient career is finished. So this is a reason for sometimes the postpartum psychosis, where the lady kills her own child. There may be a possibility nihilistic delusions. The second next one is erotomania, delusion of love, which is also called as erotomania. This particular movie, you might be familiar with this movie, where the person believes that the other person is loving him. Okay, this is called as delusion of love. And the delusion of control, another type of delusion, which is also a responsible factor for crime, either homicide or suicide. Next slide, please. So what are the medical legal importance of this delusion? It's not an isolated disorder. Delusion is not considered as an isolated disorder, but only this indicates a deep-seated mental disorder like that of schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorders, and psychotic disorders. For this reason, the patient cannot be held fully responsible for antisocial acts. This is very, very important. If the patient is having a delusion, and in this particular delusion, if he commits a crime, then he will not be considered as fully responsible for antisocial acts. It can affect the conduct and action of the patients, which may lead to the commission of suicide, homicide, or other crimes. Yes, next slide, please. Coming to the hallucinations. Hallucinations, what are hallucinations? Hallucinations are nothing but sensory perceptions without external stimuli. As you all know that there is a minor difference between hallucination and illusion, where illusion, there will be presence of external stimuli and the perception will be the altered perception will be taken, whereas in hallucinations there will not be any external stimuli, but still the uh, person sees or perceives the things, like that of auditory hallucination or visual hallucination, tactile hallucination. All different hallucinations we can come across in psychotic patients. There may be a possibility of committing suicide or homicide due to the presence of command hallucinations. Someone is telling that either uh, commit a suicide or put a fire on that particular the item, like that. If someone is telling that, this is called as command hallucination. There is no person at all, but still this person hears that someone is commanding to commit a crime. In such situations also, if the person will not be considered as responsible for the uh, this unlawful acts. Next slide, please. Illusions. These are nothing but false sensory perceptions in the presence of external stimuli. Illusions occurring in insanity or in the mental patients and other toxic states. If there is any legal issues during this particular stage, in this situation also, the person will not be considered as responsible for his acts. See, illusions, as we discussed, hallucination, there is no external stimuli, but still the person sees. Here, the person sees the rope as snake. So this particular wrong or false sensory perceptions are called as illusions. Next is thought insertion, thought withdrawal, and thought broadcasting. Next slide, please. Thought insertion means someone is inserting the thoughts. Either do this particular activity or kill him, like that. If someone is telling to do a particular activity, this is called as thought insertion. Thought withdrawal, someone is taking away his thoughts. These are called as thought withdrawal. And thought broadcasting means his own thoughts are published or broadcasted in media, social media, TV, newspaper, radio, and all. These are considered as thought broadcasting. All these are responsible for the unlawful activities also. Next is impulse control disorders, like that of kleptomania, the tendency to steal small articles. Next slide, please. Pyromania, where the patient set to fire things. Dipsomania, excessive desire to drink alcohol. Sexual impulses, it is a form of sexual perversions by abnormal means to get gratification. These are all can be considered as different varieties of thought disorders. These are in one way or the other are responsible for the unlawful activities. Next, coming to the dangerous decisions. Next slide, please. See, the distorted thoughts, what they do, because of the distorted thoughts, because of their thinking, abnormal thinking, they try to commit some unlawful activities. They try to do crimes in the form of either homicide under this may be next slide, please. Yeah, the homicide, the person may kill a person under the delusional compulsion, under the control of a delusion. Filicide, as I discussed earlier, the filicide is nothing but killing his or her own child. Under this is normally associated with the psychotic postpartum states. Suicide driven by command hallucinations. Someone is telling someone is controlling him and saying to commit a suicide. This is possible by command hallucinations, violent outbursts again, and crimes committed without awareness of their wrongfulness. These are the different dangerous decisions that can happen in the psychotic patients. Next is when we should consider the person will be when can we consider the person will be considered as responsible for all the criminal activities. It's considered as lucid interval. Next slide, please. So lucid interval is defined as a period in the course of mental illness during which there is complete cessation of symptoms of insanity, and the person is considered perfectly normal mentally. So sometimes it may happen that the person is already suffering from a disease, mental illness, but during the course of the illness, in between, the person may be perfectly all right. This particular state of normalcy is considered as lucid interval. And if the person commits any crime in this particular lucid interval stage, then the person will be considered as responsible for all the criminal activities. And this is very, very important because identifying the lucid interval in a psychiatric patient, it requires skill and experience also. Because many a times we may miss the situations how to identify whether the patient is still in a psychotic stage or whether he is in a lucid stage. And sometimes even there is a disease which is called as factitious disorder. The persons will commit crime, and after that they behave like a insane person. Okay, so this is a factitious disorder, we can say that, wherein multiple personality disorder form in the person behaves in that manner also. He will be having different personalities, like that the person will be behaving. That particular disease is called as factitious disorder. Anyway, lucid interval is that stage where the patient, during the course of the illness, for a time being, the person will be in a normal stage. So in this particular normal stage, the patient may give his consent. The patient may responsible for the civil activities as well as criminal activities also. This lucid interval can be seen in manic stage and bipolar affectivity disorders. Bipolar affectivity disorder is nothing but the disease where both depression and mania are seen on a episodic nature. And in between the two episodes, there will be normalcy, which is considered as lucid interval itself. So what is the medical legal importance of lucid interval? Yes, next slide, please. During this period, an insane person can be considered responsible for all his unlawful activities. This is very important. If the person is in a stage of delusion, stage of psychotic state, and if he commits a crime, he will not be considered as responsible for all his activities, wrong activities. Whereas if the person is in a lucid interval stage, and in that particular stage, if he commits crime, then he will be considered as responsible for his unlawful acts and he will be punishable. And during the lucid interval stage itself, the person can make a will which becomes valid. And during this lucid interval also, the patient may give the consent, and he can become an evidence also in the court. And in criminal cases, it is difficult to decide if some mental aberration was there or not at that time of the commission of a crime. And in this particular situation, it is advisable to regard the person as insane. When it is very difficult to distinguish between the insanity and the lucid interval, then we consider normally the person as insane itself. And this particular demarcation is very, very difficult sometimes. Next is feigned insanity. Next slide, please. Next slide. So feigned insanity can be defined as it is a condition wherein a person is pretend to be insane. As I have discussed, factitious disorder, in the same thing we can mention here also, feigned insanity. Here, the person, after committing the crime, he will be pretending to be insane. He will be acting like a mentally ill person. So why they do this particular behavior? Because to escape the capital punishment by a criminal death sentence. So after committing a crime, to get prevention or to escape from this particular punishment, they pretend to be a psychiatric patient. And sometimes even to prevent their loss, the business transactions and all, they don't do that. They pretend to be insane. And even in the military jobs, also due to the severe stress, sometimes they quit the service. And what is the importance, medical legal importance? It is a most responsible duty of the doctor to detect and report pain insanity. Observation is a must for minimum of 10 days. This is very, very important. Pain insanity, how to diagnose normal insanity and insanity. This is very, very important. Observation is has to be done for minimum of 10 days. Minimum of 10 days, that may exaggerate, that may increase even after 15 to 20 days or even a month also, with the permission of magistrate. So how will you classify between real insanity and feigned insanity? When we can consider the person is actually having a psychiatric illness or he is pretending to be insane person. Yes, next slide, please. So these are the very, very important points you should come across. You should practice, or you should understand what are the different important factors which are highlighting or which are indicating the difference between feigned insanity and real insanity. So onset is gradual in a real insane person. If the patient is having a psychiatric illness, definitely there is a gradual onset. And feigned insanity, it is sudden. This can be understood by simply taking the history of the patient itself. And motive of the particular criminal act, there will not be any motive in the insane person. And whereas in the feigned insanity, definitely there will be a motive will be present. Predisposing factors, definitely there will be present in the psychiatric patient. Predisposing in the sense there will be lots of stress or other this pre-morbid personalities can also be seen in those patients, in the psychiatric patients, whereas those predisposing factors will not be seen in the feigned insanity. And signs and symptoms are uniform in the real psychiatric patient. If you take the proper history, since a long gradual history, the patient will be having the signs and symptoms, and we can find the patient's behavior, we can find his speech, his thinking, all these things. We can get the detailed history of the patient, and there simply by getting the history, we can conclude that there will be uniform signs and symptoms in the psychiatric patient, real psychiatric patient, whereas these signs and symptoms will be present only when being observed and conscious. The feigned insanity, as he is not having any psychiatric illness, he'll be pretending to be having a psychiatric disease. That is why whenever someone observes him, he will at that particular moment he will develop the specific signs and symptoms. And facial expression also very, very important. See, while dealing with the psychiatric patients, there is a non-verbal communication also. So we should very much keen about the non-verbal communication also, because this is also a very important diagnostic factor in diagnosing real psychiatric patient and the unreal psychiatric patient. The facial expressions, if you look into a psychotic patient, they will be having a special faces. There will be a peculiar vacant look. So Shirasaha Shunyata, which has been mentioned in our Shastras. So that particular Shunyata, vacant look, we can see in the psychiatric patients, whereas there is no peculiarity in those patients, in the feigned insanity people. Next slide, please. The insomnia will be present sometimes, and will be many a times it will be present in the psychotic patients, whereas in the feigned insanity people, there will not be any condition of or insomnia. And if you ask the patient for repeated examination, frequent examination, the psychiatric patients will not protect the frequent examination. They don't mind at all. Whereas these particular people who are pretending to be the psychiatric patients, they resist for fear of detection. This is understood. So this is the clear-cut indication where we can differentiate between the feigned person and feigned insanity and real insanity. And exertion, the psychotic patients uh, can withstand the exertion also. There is a specific variety which is called as catatonic schizophrenia. In schizophrenia also, many varieties of schizophrenia also, we can say that the patient will be having in an awkward position and they can stay for a prolonged period in that particular awkward position and they don't have any exertion at all. They don't feel any exertion at all. Whereas the feigned insanity people, they will feel the exertion and they feel fatigue very soon. These are the important differentiation features between the feigned insanity and real insanity. So after that, uh, next slide, please. What are the psychiatric evaluations we have to see? Forensic psychiatric evaluations, these are very, very important. So first and foremost, mental status examination. It should be mental status examination. There is mental status examination. Mental status examination, we have to focus on thought form and thought content. This is very, very important. It comprises of several factors like appearance, behavior, consciousness, the delusions, and we have to concentrate on these particular thoughts. Yeah, okay, delusions, hallucinations, and what about their mood? All these things we have to focus, and in that those aspects also, even the judgment also we have to see whether the patient can judge the situation better or not. All the things we have to assess in the patient. This is very important, and for this particular psychiatric evaluation, we have to focus on thought form and thought content. The risk assessment tools, these are all again, these are the newly developed risk assessment tools, whereas HCR 20, HCR 20 mainly, it is indicating that the historical clinical risk management 20. See, historical in the sense, here the previous history we have to take. There will be 10 items, 10 questions will be there in this particular HCR 20. So the 10 items are present which are indicating the history of the patient, where the previous violence, whether it is present or not, at the young age, whether what about his behavior, first violent incident, how was he with his peers and friends and his subordinates, and all the things we have to assess. There will be 10 items in under the heading of historical domain. And see, clinical domain, 5 items are present, which are indicating the at present situation, what is his condition, whether the patient is having proper insight or not, whether he is having negative attitudes, whether the any symptoms of major psychiatric illness is present or not. All the things we have to assess in this particular clinical domain. And what about the R? R is nothing but a risk domain, risk management domain, which is indicating that what about his plans, how he will cope up with the stress, how he will be uh, giving the response to the treatment, compliance, and exposure to the destabilizing environments. All the things we have to assess in this risk management items. Decision thoughts, we are discussing about the SCR 20, which is nothing but historical clinical risk management 20, which comprises of 20 items. Again, 20 items divided into 3 domains: historical 10 items, clinical 5 items. Historical in the sense his previous history related activities, clinical at present, what is his present situation, psychiatric situation, and risk management, how he will cope up with the stress and how he will respond to the stress in the future, future oriented also. So all these factors will be assessed in the HCR 20, and the PCLR, which is nothing but psychopathy checklist revised. Again, this is used to assess the psychopathic traits. Psychopathic traits in the sense where the patient will be having the antisocial activities, and to predict the risk of violence. See, in the first one is to there will be focusing on the future oriented situational factors in the first one, HAR 20, how the person will cope up with the stress and all. Whereas in the psychopathic, the checklist revised PCLR, here the risk of violence and criminal activities, this will be assessed. So in this particular psychopathy checklist, there are 20 items under 20 items having the 3-point scale: 0, 1, 2. 0 says that this particular item or the question does not apply. One item which says that sometimes it may be applied, and 2, which is considered the extreme aspect, which is definitely the this item will be applied, in the sense whether the psychopath activity is whether somewhat it is applied, or definitely it is applied always and does not apply at all. So these 3-point scale are present in a 20 items scale, and it is considered that 25 or more than 25 of these particular 20 items will be suggesting the psychopath activity, psychopathy nature. And SAPROF, the other one, structured assessment of protective factors. Again, this assesses the protective factors that reduce the risk of future violence. Future, there are whatever the possibility of violence will be reduced, or to some extent, by assessing this protectors. Again, this comprises of 17 items having the 3 domains: internal factors, motivational factors, and external factors. Again, internal factors in the form of coping skills, intelligence, self-control. The external factors in the sense social, how the social support is present, how the his living conditions are present, external factors. And motivational factors are like motivation for whether he is motivated for treatment, whether he how he will respond to the future outcomes, and all the things will be assessed in this SAPROF factors. So these are the different risk assessment tools one we have to follow for evaluation of a psychiatric patient, particularly who is facing the legal action. Then collateral information is also very, very important in this particular aspect. Collateral information is simultaneously what are all the informations we are getting, or we are gathering the informations from family, police, and even the past records. So all the things are very, very essential for diagnosing with the case of or in psychiatric condition. So definitely there will be a family history. If the patient is having a psychiatric complaint, most of the psychiatric complaints run in families. There may be a possibility of the patient family history also may be present in the patient. And sometimes even the family respond, or family will actually tell the situation of the patient. So by getting the information, we can diagnose that the person is having a psychiatric illness. And even the past records also, what are all the treatments he is getting, and what are all the different behaviors he has done during his childhood life or during his occupational status, where he is doing the job, how he is behaving with his boss or subordinates or friends, and all the things we have to gather, and all the informations we have to gather for evaluation of the patient. And even the last one is insight evaluation. Insight is nothing but awareness of the illness, whether the patient is really having the insight or not. All the things we have to assess thoroughly. This needs a lot of experience and keenful observation for diagnosing the psychiatric patient. Next, coming to the next slide, please. We discussed thought disorders, we discussed distorted realities, and we again discuss the dangerous decisions also. And lastly, the forensic aspects of uh, the or legal aspects related to the insanity and some certain laws. Next slide, please. So first and foremost is, which is very important rule, which is called as McNaughton's rule. You all may be knowing what is McNaughton's rules. Here it says that an accused person is not legally responsible if it is clearly proved that at the time of committing the crime, he was suffering from such a defect of reason, from abnormality of mind, that he did not know the nature and quality of the act he was doing, or that what he was doing was wrong. In the sense, if the patient is not able to understand what is correct, what he is doing, what the act he is doing, whether it is correct or wrong, if he is not able to understand, and if he is in a state of delusion or in the psychotic condition, and in that particular psychotic condition, if he commits the crime, and at that situation, that particular situation, he will not be considered as a criminal, because the patient will not be understanding what he is doing. Okay, and the same legal test of McNaughton's rule is accepted even in India also under the Section 84 IPC. So Section 84 IPC, which says that nothing is an offense which is done by a person who at the time of doing it, by reason of, next slide please, unsoundness of mind, incapable of knowing the nature of the act, or that he is doing what is either wrong or contrary to law. So this section comprises of certain important points. First thing is the clearly, next slide please. Next slide, please. McNaughton's rule is not that. So here certain important points are present. Clearly proved. What do you mean by clearly proved? Here, if the patient, whatever he is doing the criminal act, and he is doing the criminal act under his psychotic condition, and which is clearly proved. This situation is mentioned. The unsoundness of mind must be directly related to the offense in such a way as to satisfy the court. That has to be satisfied by the court. The offense here, whatever the offense has been taken, which is having the direct relationship with his mental condition, unsoundness of the mind, and that the offense would not have occurred if there was no mental abnormality. And that is also very important. If his mental condition is good, and this particular offense will not have happened. This has to be understood, or this has to be proved, clearly proved under Section 84 IPC. Defect of reason means his reasoning powers, so as to facts and actions, were not functioning normally. His reasoning capacities are definitely altered because distorted realities. His reasoning capacity will be altered because his thinking capacity itself is affected. Abnormality of the mind, again, it must be the legal abnormality of the mind and not the medical abnormality. And the ability of the accused to distinguish between right and wrong. So here clearly the patient will not be able to the patient will not be able to understand what is right and what is wrong. Just next slide, please. So legal aspects related to insanity and loss, again, competency as a witness under Section 118 of Indian Evidence Act. if the patient he can be considered as a witness if he is in a lucid interval. Validity again under section 90 of IPC, the consent given by the mentally ill is considered as valid if he is in a lucid interval. Otherwise, this will not be considered as the consent at all. And again, marriage. This is again important aspect. Next slide, please. Mental illness and marriage and divorce. Under Divorce Act of 1869, marriage is considered as null and void. Next slide. If the person is mentally ill at the time of marriage, this is very important. If at the condition of marriage, the patient, next slide, please. So, yes. So under the Divorce Act 1869, marriage is considered as null and void if the person is mentally ill at the time of marriage. Considered the spouse turns mentally ill after the marriage. So before the marriage, the patient is the mentally ill, then the marriage will not be considered under the Divorce Act of 1869. Whereas after the marriage, if the person turns to mentally ill, then he may go for divorce also. So based on the legal aspects, next slide, please. Legal aspects related to insanity and law. So again, what about the plea on somnambulism? Somnambulism is nothing but sleepwalk. At that particular situation, sleepwalking, if under the stage of sleepwalking, if he commits the crime, again, this will not be a punishable act. And hypnosis and crime, all the things. Again, hypnosis also, if the patient is under hypnotized state, again, this is not considered as a crime. Next slide, please. Criminal responsibilities and drunkenness. Under the of IPC 85, if the patient commits crime under the influence of alcohol and other intoxicating drugs, that should be provided he was made to consume it without his knowledge, then only he will not be considered as a responsible person. And if he is taking the alcohol and committing crime, then it is considered to be a crime itself. Next, lastly, role of a clinician. Next slide, please. As a future psychiatrist and doctors, we should develop skills in psychiatric interviewing. Next slide, please. Especially under the guarded settings, how to document the risk aspects and notify authorities whenever it is required. This is very important. All the risk possibilities we have to document, and if we find a necessity, that has to be informed to the higher authorities or the concerned authorities. And again, if you face any legal system in the future having this legal this particular aspect, you have to face it confidently. Yes. To conclude, next slide. Distorted realities and dangerous decisions are not just theoretical constructs. They are, in fact, navigate the psychotic nature and the legal system. As we have seen several crimes already. We come across several instances based on this psychosis and legal system. So it is our responsibility as clinicians and future forensic experts to bridge the gap between illness and justice, between care and accountability. And lastly, let us try to understand these disorders, not just to treat. Here it is very important. We have to give the support also to these mental patients. Okay, if we give proper support, proper care, proper rehabilitation, anything can be achieved. Even the mental patients, we can change their quality of life. With this, I would like to conclude my topic, and I thank all the organizers and the audience for the patience hearing. And I'm sorry for the inconvenience happened due to some technical faults, technical issues. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, sir. And we sincerely apologize all the delegates and our guest speaker too for the technical glitches which have occurred. We request all participants to post any queries if it is present in the chat box.
To be frank, it is a very vast subject, and I have covered only few aspects. There are many things still remain, like that of civil response.
Really grateful to you, sir, because this is, as you mentioned, it's really vast, and you have really briefed it and told it in a nutshell, and it is really beneficial for the Agada community students, sir, because each of the aspect is such vast that understanding on that aspect also to build up is a bit difficult.
Yeah, yes, of course. And moreover, the delusions, hallucinations, these are all very, very important. Identifying the psychiatric condition is very important. Whether the patient is really psychiatric or he is pretend to be a insane person. This is very, very important. So we already discussed what are the different differences between identifying the psychiatric condition as well as the sane psychiatric patient.
So there is a question in chat box. If a person commits a crime under the influence of alcohol, is it still an offense or punishable, or the legal punishment is lessened? Whether it is less, punishment is reduced, is what is the question.
So we have already mentioned in the slides itself. So if the person is taking the alcohol without his knowledge, and if he commits the crime without his knowledge, if he consumes alcohol and commits crime, and if it is proved, then he will not be considered as the responsible person for that particular criminal act. The thing is, under section 85 IPC, it is clearly mentioned. And if the person is taking alcohol and he is knowing that he is taking alcohol, and under the influence of alcohol, if he commits any crime, definitely he will be considered as he will be considered for punishment.
So there is another question from the audience that are the provisions in BNS, that is Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, same as section 84?
Pardon?
Sir, as section 84, sir, as section 84 IPC, are the provisions in Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita same, or is there any alteration in that?
Sorry, I'm not aware about this particular aspect. I'm unaware of this.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, sir. There are no more queries in the chat box, sir. We'll proceed further.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening the session. Your session was informative and beneficial as you have covered all the aspects of the forensic psychiatry. In brief, we could able to understand few aspects like difference between the feign and the true insanity and many other aspects, sir. Now I request Dr. Ranjana K, Assistant Professor, Department of Agadatantra, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. It is my privilege and pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks at the conclusion of this today's CME section. First and foremost, I extend our sincere thanks to Pujya Padma Vibhushana Dr. D. Virendra Hegde ji, whose continuous support and visionary leadership are the backbone of all our academic and institutional activities. Also, I extend thankfulness to all office bearers of our supportive management. We are deeply thankful to Dr. Prasanna Rao sir, Director of SDMIU institutions, whose leadership and commitment to academic excellence have always been a source of strength for us. I would like to thank our head of the institution, Dr. Mamata KV ma'am, whose unwavering encouragement and commitment to academic excellence have played a key role in organizing today's program. I extend our sincere thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Niranjan S, for taking time from his busy schedule to share their expertise and valuable insight with us. Your section on forensic psychiatry was truly enlightening and thought-provoking. We are deeply grateful to our advisory committee, Dr. Shailaja U, Dr. Jagadish Kunjal, Dr. Niranjan Rao, Dr. Nagaraj S, Dr. Muralidhar Ballar, Dr. Shailaja Srilata Kamath, Dr. Prashant, Dr. Srikanth P for their valuable guidance. I would like to thank our Chief Organizing Secretary, Dr. Srinidhi R, whose dedication have been the driving force held the success execution of today's event. And I would like to thank our HOD Madam, Dr. Chaitra. HOD Department of Agadatantra, SDMCAH Udupi for constant support. And a special mention to all the participants and delegates. Your active involvement and enthusiasm made this CME truly meaningful. I would extend sincere thanks to organizing team for addressing the technical glitches at right time. I extend apology to our guest speaker and all the delegates for the inconvenience caused during the section. And I give sincere thanks to Dr. Puni sir, assistant professor, for giving help for technical issues. And last but not least, sincere thanks to the technical supportives, technical staffs. And once again, I extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone. Now, as a mark of respect and unity, I request everyone to thank you, one and all.